In 1487, over 4 days in the Aztec capital, somewhere between 4,000 and 80,000 people climbed the steps of the Great Temple. None of them came back down alive. Their hearts were cut from their chests while still beating, held up to the sun. Then their bodies were thrown down the pyramid steps. This wasn't madness. This was salvation. And if you understood what the Aztecs believed about the sun above your head right now, you might have climbed those steps yourself. Here's what your Aztec neighbor would have told you in 1487. We are living in the fifth sun. 4 worlds came before ours, and all of them were destroyed. The first world was devoured by jaguars. The second was swept away by hurricanes. The third rained fire. The fourth drowned in a flood that lasted 52 years. And our world? It will end when the sun stops moving across the sky. When it freezes in place, falls from the heavens, and earthquakes shatter the earth. The Aztecs didn't believe this would happen. They knew it, because they had the calendar, they had the history. They had watched the previous world end. But here's the thing Americans struggle to grasp. The Aztec universe wasn't watching itself die. It was being actively saved every single day. You see, the sun isn't a ball of gas to the Aztecs. It's a god named Huitzilopochtli, locked in eternal combat. Every night, he battles his way through the underworld, fighting monsters and darkness. Every dawn, he's reborn, exhausted, and he needs strength to make that journey across the sky. That strength is tonally, life force. It exists in human blood, specifically in the heart. When an Aztec priest held up a beating heart to the sun, they weren't making a sacrifice. They were giving the sun its fuel. They were making sure tomorrow would come. Think about that. You wake up, the sun rises, and you think, of course it does. They woke up, saw the sun rise, and thought it worked. We gave enough hearts. We get one more day. So where do you get thousands of hearts? You can't just sacrifice your own people into extinction. The Aztecs created something brilliant and terrifying. The Flower Wars. These were ritual battles with neighboring cities, fought specifically to capture warriors, not to conquer land. Both sides agreed to it. Both sides needed prisoners for sacrifice. It was a mutual exchange of cosmic fuel. Captured warriors were treated like honored guests for weeks, sometimes months. They were given the finest food, beautiful companions, shown every comfort. Because they weren't criminals being punished. They were about to become divine messengers. They would carry prayers directly to the sun. On the day of sacrifice, a warrior would climb the temple steps voluntarily. Sometimes they were given a ritual weapon to defend themselves against Aztec warriors in a final combat. When they fell, 4 priests held them down on the sacrificial stone. A 5th priest, using a blade of volcanic obsidian sharper than modern surgical steel, would cut beneath the ribcage and pull out the heart in seconds. The body was pushed down the temple steps, where it tumbled past the dried blood of yesterday's sacrifices, past last week's, past years of stains that never washed away. We call it barbaric, but put yourself in their world for a moment. You live in a universe that has ended 4 times. You have astronomical observations spanning centuries showing you cycles of catastrophe. You've calculated that every 52 years, the world reaches a critical point where the sun might not return. Every 52 years, the Aztecs held the new fire ceremony. On that night, every fire in the empire was extinguished. The entire population waited in darkness, watching priests on a mountaintop. If the ceremony failed, if the sun didn't rise, monsters called Zitsamimi would descend from the stars and devour all of humanity. When the priests successfully lit the new fire and the sun rose again, messengers ran through the empire relighting every hearth. People cut themselves in relief, letting their own blood flow as thanks. They had bought another 52 years. Now imagine you're an Aztec parent. You can participate in the system that keeps the sun moving, that keeps your children from being devoured by star demons, that holds back the apocalypse. Or you can refuse, call it barbaric, and watch the world end because you weren't willing to pay the blood debt. What do you choose? The historical irony is devastating. The Aztecs were right that their world would end, just not how they thought. In 1521, Spanish conquistadors under Cortés burned the Great Temple. They banned the sacrifices. They shattered the calendar stones. And the 5th sun didn't fall from the sky, but the Aztec world did end. Within 50 years, disease and conquest reduced their population by 90%. Their books were burned, their cities buried, their cosmic debts left unpaid. Here's what keeps me up at night. The Aztecs sacrificed thousands trying to prevent an apocalypse that never came. We sacrifice nothing while causing one that definitely is. We watch glaciers melt, oceans rise, and species disappear. We have the science, the calendar, the warnings, but we don't change because the end seems distant, abstract. The Aztecs saw the sun rise every day and thought, we earned this. We see it rise and think, of course it does. Maybe they understood something we've forgotten. That continuation isn't guaranteed. That tomorrow is something you have to fight for. They just fought the wrong battle, for the wrong reasons, in the most brutal way imaginable. But at least they fought.